The hallways of Westridge High School buzzed with the usual Monday morning energy. Students huddled around lockers, laughing and sharing weekend stories, but today was different. A new face was about to join their ranks. Alex stood at the main entrance, taking a deep breath before pulling open the heavy glass door. The noise hit him first, hundreds of conversations bouncing off metal lockers and tile floors. He clutched his schedule tighter, his knuckles almost turning white. "You got this," he whispered to himself, remembering his mom's words from that morning. At 15, Alex was used to being the new kid. His mom's job had moved them 3 times in the last 5 years. But something about Westridge made his stomach twist more than usual. Maybe it was the fancy cars in the student parking lot, or maybe it was because he immediately noticed he was one of the very few black students in this suburban school. He kept his head high as he walked down the main hallway, feeling eyes follow him. Some stares were just curious, others less friendly. Alex had learned to tell the difference. "Room 214, he muttered, scanning the numbers above classroom doors. The warning bell rang, sending students scurrying in all directions. A tall boy with red hair stopped beside him. "You look lost. Need help?" "Yeah, looking for Mr. Patterson's homeroom." "Up those stairs and to the right." "I'm Chris, by the way." "Alex." "Thanks." As Chris walked away, Alex adjusted his backpack. The weight felt familiar and comforting. Inside was his lunch, some notebooks, and at the bottom, carefully folded, his black belt. He'd earned it just 2 months ago after 8 years of training. The memory of that day flashed through his mind, standing in the center of the dojo, his instructor tying the belt around his waist as his mom recorded the whole thing on her phone, tears in her eyes. All those years of practice, bruises, and early Saturday mornings had finally paid off. Alex found room 214 just as the final bell rang. 28 pairs of eyes turned to look at him as he entered. The teacher, a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a bowdy, smiled. "You must be Alex. Welcome to Westridge. Take any empty seat you can find." The only available desk was near the back. As Alex made his way through the classroom, he heard whispers. Nothing new there. He'd dealt with this before. "We're discussing the Civil War today," Mr. Patterson continued. "Alex, we're on page 134 if you'd like to follow along." The morning classes passed slowly. In each one, Alex had to do the awkward new kid introduction. By lunchtime, he was tired of saying where he was from and what his hobbies were. He sat alone at the edge of a table in the cafeteria, picking at his sandwich while watching the social dynamics unfold around him. Every school had its groups, the athletes, the nerds, the artsy kids, the popular crowd. Westridge was no different. "Mind if I join you?" A girl with glasses and braids stood across from him, lunch tray in hand. "Sure," Alex said, relieved to have someone to talk to. "I'm Pryor. You're in my history class." "Alex." "I know. You've probably had to say your name like 50 times today." She smiled knowingly. As they ate, Pryor filled him in on the unwritten rules of Westridge High, which teachers were cool, which were strict, which hallways to avoid between certain periods. "And watch out for Tyler and his friends," she added, nodding toward a table where a group of seniors sat. One guy, bigger than the rest, seemed to be holding court. "That's Tyler. He's the wrestling captain and thinks he owns the place." Alex followed her gaze. He'd seen guys like Tyler before, the kind who needed to prove themselves by putting others down. That evening, Alex sat at the kitchen table doing homework when his mom got home from work. "How was day 1?" she asked, setting down her bag and joining him at the table. "Same as always," he shrugged. "Some nice people, some not so nice." His mom studied his face. "Anyone giving you trouble?" "Not yet. But there's always someone." She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "Remember what your instructor always says." I know. My skills are never for showing off or starting fights. Only for protection when there's no other choice." "Exactly," she smiled. "I'm proud of you, you know that. Moving so much isn't easy, but you always handle it with grace." Alex nodded, thinking about the black belt in his backpack. 8 years of discipline, focus, and control. He hadn't told anyone at school about it yet. Usually he didn't. It wasn't something he advertised. Little did he know, he would soon be very glad he had those skills. 3 weeks flew by faster than Alex expected. He'd settled into a routine at Westridge High, same classes, same lunch table with Pryor and a few others who had welcomed him into their circle, same walk home. The stares had mostly stopped, except for a few that seemed to follow him everywhere. Tuesday morning, Alex was grabbing books from his locker when he felt someone watching. Turning slightly, he caught Tyler's cold gaze from across the hallway. The wrestling captain was leaning against the wall, arms crossed, surrounded by his usual group. One of them whispered something, and they all laughed. Alex turned back to his locker, pretending not to notice. "Just ignore them," Pryor said, appearing beside him. "They do this with every new kid, especially if you're different in any way." "Different?" Alex raised an eyebrow. Pryor looked uncomfortable. "You know what I mean. There aren't many black students here. Tyler and his crew, they're not exactly known for being welcoming." Alex had noticed. In his 3 weeks, he'd heard enough comments whispered just loud enough for him to catch, about his hair, his clothes, the music they assumed he liked. "It's fine," he said, closing his locker. "I've dealt with worse." But as the days passed, Tyler's attention became harder to ignore. It started small. A shoulder check as they passed in the hallway, a foot stuck out trying to trip him, books knocked from his hands. "Oops, didn't see you there," Tyler would say with a smirk that showed he absolutely had. Each time, Alex took a deep breath and walked away. 8 years of martial arts training had taught him patience. His instructor's voice echoed in his head. "The strongest person in the room is the one who doesn't need to prove it." Thursday after gym class, Alex was changing when he heard Tyler's voice from the other side of the lockers. "New kid thinks he's too good to talk to anyone," Tyler was saying. "Acts all quiet and mysterious. Bet he's not so tough." Alex closed his eyes and counted to 10. He knew Tyler wanted a reaction. That's how bullies operated. They pushed until you pushed back, then claimed you started it. The next day in the cafeteria, Alex was eating with Pryor and Chris when Tyler walked by and accidentally spilled milk on Alex's new shoes. "My bad," Tyler said with a grin that showed no remorse. His friends snickered behind him. Alex calmly grabbed some napkins and cleaned his shoes. He could feel Tyler watching, waiting for him to get angry. "How do you stay so calm?" Chris asked after Tyler walked away. "I would have lost it." Alex shrugged. Getting angry gives him what he wants. What Alex didn't say was that every night after school, he spent an hour in his room practicing forms, focusing his mind and body. The discipline kept him centered when Tyler's provocations grew worse. By the 3rd week, the incidents were happening daily. In history class, Tyler would make comments just loud enough for Alex to hear, but not loud enough for the teacher to notice. In the hallway, he'd bump into Alex hard enough to make him drop his things. On Monday morning, Alex found a note in his locker with a crude drawing and a racial slur. He crumpled it up and threw it away without letting anyone see his hands shake. That afternoon, his mom noticed something was off. "You're quieter than usual," she said as they ate dinner. "Everything okay at school?" Alex pushed his food around his plate. "Just the usual stuff. Nothing I can't handle." His mom studied his face. She knew her son well enough to see behind the calm facade. "Is it time for a talk with the school counselor?" Alex shook his head quickly. "No, that would just make it worse." He didn't tell her about the note or how Tyler and his friends now followed him between classes making comments. He didn't mention how the cafeteria fell quiet when he walked in, or how some kids who had been friendly at first now avoided him, afraid of becoming Tyler's next target. "I'm handling it," he assured her. That night, Alex spent an extra hour practicing his forms, moving through each position with perfect control. He remembered what his instructor had told him when he earned his black belt. "This isn't just about fighting. It's about knowing when not to fight." But as he went to bed that night, Alex wondered how much longer he could keep walking away. Something in Tyler's eyes told him the bully was just getting started. The rain pounded against the windows of Westridge High all Thursday morning. By the time the final bell rang, it was coming down in sheets. Most students rushed to waiting cars or huddled at bus stops, but Alex had to wait. His mom texted that she'd be running late. A meeting had gone long. "I'll be there in 20 minutes, her message read. "Wait inside, okay?" Alex replied with a thumbs-up emoji and headed to the library to kill time. After 15 minutes of flipping through a sports magazine, he decided to grab his math textbook from his locker. The hallways were eerily quiet now, most students long gone. As he rounded the corner toward his locker, Alex froze. Tyler and 4 of his friends were hanging out nearby, laughing loudly. Alex considered turning around, but Tyler had already spotted him. "Well, look who it is," Tyler called out, his voice echoing in the empty hallway. "Mr. Kung Fu." Alex hadn't told anyone about his martial arts training, but somehow Tyler had found out. Maybe someone had seen him practicing in the park last weekend. Taking a deep breath, Alex kept walking toward his locker, hoping they'd just let him pass. No such luck. Tyler moved to block his path. The other boys formed a half circle behind their leader. Alex noticed one of them had his phone out, already recording. "Heard you think you're some kind of karate master," Tyler said, stepping closer. He was a good 4 inches taller than Alex and at least 30 pounds heavier. "Don't look so tough to me." "I don't want any trouble," Alex said calmly, trying to step around him. Tyler moved with him, blocking his path again. "But I think you do. Always walking around like you're better than everyone." "I've never said or done anything to you," Alex replied, keeping his voice steady despite the pounding in his chest. "You don't have to say anything. It's how you look at people, how you ignore me when I'm talking to you." Tyler's face was getting red now. "Like right now, you're not even scared." The truth was, Alex was scared. Not of getting hurt. He'd taken plenty of hits during sparring matches over the years. He was scared of what would happen if he fought back, scared of disappointing his mom, scared of becoming the angry black kid who got into fights. "Can I just get to my locker?" Alex asked, gesturing past the group. Tyler stepped even closer, now just inches from Alex's face. "What if I don't want you to?" Alex stayed silent. He could smell the sour candy on Tyler's breath. "What, you deaf now?" Tyler shoved Alex's shoulder. Alex rocked back slightly but kept his balance perfectly. Years of training had made his stance solid as a rock. This seemed to infuriate Tyler even more. "See? That's what I'm talking about. Acting all cool." Tyler's voice rose. "You think you're so much better than everyone here." Behind Tyler, his friends were grinning, excited for the show. The boy with the phone moved to get a better angle. "I just want to get my book and leave," Alex said, his voice still calm, but his hands now curled into loose fists at his sides. Something about Alex's continued composure seemed to snap something in Tyler. His face twisted with rage. "You know what? I'm sick of this act." What happened next seemed to play out in slow motion. Tyler's face contorted with anger, his eyes narrowed, and then he gathered the saliva in his mouth and spat directly into Alex's face. The warm spit hit Alex's right cheek and dripped down toward his jaw. The hallway fell completely silent. Even Tyler's friends looked shocked at how far things had gone. For a moment, nobody moved. The only sound was the rain hammering against the windows and the quiet beep of the phone still recording. Alex felt a strange calm wash over him, the kind he only experienced during tournaments when everything else faded away. His mind flashed back to his dojo, to all the times his instructor had made them practice keeping cool heads when provoked. "A true warrior knows when to fight and when not to," his instructor always said. But when there is no choice, he acts decisively. As the spit continued to drip down his face, Alex realized this moment had crossed a line. There was no walking away with his dignity intact, but there was also no need to become what Tyler expected, an angry, violent opponent. The boys surrounding him were waiting, phones up, ready to capture whatever happened next. They wanted a brawl, a viral video, a confirmation of every stereotype. Alex slowly raised his hand and wiped the spit from his face. What he did next would change everything at Westridge High. Time seemed to slow down. The spit dripping down Alex's face felt like it was moving through honey. Everyone watched, waiting for his reaction. Tyler's friends had their phones up, recording everything. "What you gonna do now?" Tyler taunted, his chest puffed out. He clearly expected, maybe even wanted, Alex to swing at him. Alex took a deep breath. 8 years of training had prepared him for this moment, though not in the way most people would think. His instructor's voice echoed in his head. "The true purpose of martial arts is not to hurt others, but to protect yourself and those who cannot protect themselves." With movements so smooth they almost looked rehearsed, Alex shifted his weight and stepped slightly to the side. It wasn't much, just 6 inches, but it changed everything about his position. Tyler, mistaking the movement for fear, stepped forward with a grin. "That's what I thought. All talk, no." He never finished his sentence. As Tyler lunged forward to shove him again, Alex simply wasn't where Tyler expected him to be. The bigger boy's momentum carried him forward into empty space. Alex's hand came up, not in a punch or strike, but in a simple redirection. He barely touched Tyler's wrist, guiding the force rather than stopping it. The result was spectacular. Tyler stumbled forward, off balance and confused. He tried to regain his footing but couldn't find his center. His own body weight and forward motion did all the work as he tumbled awkwardly to the floor. For a moment, no one spoke. Tyler's friends stood frozen, phones still recording. "Dude, he didn't even hit you," one of them finally said. Tyler scrambled to his feet, his face red with embarrassment and rage. "You tripped me," he shouted. Alex shook his head. "I didn't. You fell. You think this is funny?" Tyler charged forward again, this time with his fist raised. Alex didn't move until the last possible second. When he did, it was with the fluid grace of someone who had practiced these movements thousands of times. He sidestepped Tyler's wild punch, caught the boy's wrist, and used Tyler's own momentum to guide him into the wall of lockers. The crash echoed through the empty hallway. Tyler bounced off the metal and spun around, even more furious but now cautious. "Fight back like a man." Tyler yelled, clearly frustrated that Alex hadn't thrown a single punch. "I don't need to hit you to defend myself," Alex said calmly, his stance relaxed but ready. One of Tyler's friends lowered his phone. "Dude, Tyler, maybe we should go. Teachers might come." Tyler ignored him. "You scared?" he taunted Alex. "No," Alex replied honestly. "But I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to get in trouble. You spit on me, and that was wrong. But it doesn't mean I have to do something wrong back." Something about Alex's calm confidence made Tyler hesitate. He wasn't used to this. Most kids either cowered or lashed out, reactions he knew how to handle. This quiet strength was something new. Tyler lunged one more time, throwing his whole body into a tackle that would have flattened most people. Alex moved like water, there one moment, gone the next. He pivoted smoothly, guiding Tyler's rush past him with just a touch on the shoulder and hip. This time when Tyler fell, he crashed into his own friends. They all went down in a heap of limbs and curses. The phones clattered to the floor, still recording. As they untangled themselves, a slow clapping sound echoed down the hallway. They all turned to see Mr. Roberts, the assistant principal, walking toward them. "Quite the performance," he said, his face stern. "I was coming to lock up when I heard the commotion." He pointed to the security camera mounted in the corner of the hallway. "And it seems we have it all on video. My office. All of you. Now." Tyler's face went from red to white. "He started it," he said quickly, pointing at Alex. Mr. Roberts raised an eyebrow. "Did he? Because from what I just saw, and what I'm sure the security footage will show, you were the aggressor. And," he pointed to the phones on the floor, "it looks like your friends have kindly documented everything for us." Alex stood quietly, his breathing steady. He hadn't thrown a single punch. He protected himself without causing harm. As they all walked toward the office, one of Tyler's friends whispered to another, "Did you see that? The new kid's like ninja level." Tyler never even touched him. Alex pretended not to hear, but inside, for the first time in weeks, he felt a small sense of peace. His training had worked exactly as it was supposed to. By the next morning, everyone at Westridge High had seen the videos. They spread like wildfire, first through text messages among Tyler's friends, then to other students, and finally across social media platforms where they racked up thousands of views overnight. The clips showed everything. Tyler's aggression, the shocking moment he spat in Alex's face, and most impressively, Alex's incredible defensive moves that left Tyler stumbling and falling without a single punch being thrown. Alex walked into school Friday morning and immediately noticed the difference. Whispers followed him, but they weren't the same as before. Students he'd never spoken to nodded at him with new respect. A few even came up to ask if he taught martial arts classes. "That was the coolest thing I've ever seen," A freshman boy told him between classes. You didn't even hit him, but he couldn't touch you. Alex just smiled politely and kept walking. This kind of attention wasn't what he wanted either. Meanwhile, Tyler was nowhere to be seen. His friends huddled in small groups, looking uncomfortable when Alex passed by. The power dynamic had shifted overnight. During third period, the principal's voice came over the PA system. Alex Chen, please report to the main office. As Alex gathered his things, his classmates watched with curious eyes. Some gave him thumbs-up signs. Word had spread that both boys had been called to the office yesterday, but no one knew what had happened after that. In the main office, Alex found his mother already sitting in one of the chairs. Her face was a mix of concern and pride. "Mom? I thought you were at work," Alex said. She squeezed his hand. "The principal called me this morning. I came as soon as I could." Principal Davis opened her office door. "Alex, Mrs. Chen, please come in." Inside the office, Alex was surprised to see not just the principal, but also Coach Wilson, who ran the school's athletic programs, and Mr. Roberts, the assistant principal who'd caught them yesterday. "Alex, we've reviewed the security footage from yesterday," Principal Davis began, "and we've seen the videos that have been circulating." Alex's stomach tightened. Even though he hadn't thrown any punches, he was still involved in an altercation. Some schools had zero-tolerance policies. "I want to be clear," the principal continued. "What Tyler did was completely unacceptable. Spitting on another student is assault, and we've taken appropriate disciplinary action." Coach Wilson nodded grimly. "Tyler has been suspended for 2 weeks and removed from the wrestling team for the remainder of the semester." Alex hadn't expected that. Removed from the team. But he's the captain. "Actions have consequences," Coach Wilson said firmly. "His behavior violated everything we stand for in our athletic programs." Principal Davis turned back to Alex. "As for you, what's most remarkable is what you didn't do. You defended yourself without becoming aggressive. That shows extraordinary discipline." Alex's mother squeezed his hand again. "That's how he was trained," she said quietly. His instructor always emphasized control and respect. "We had a long talk with Tyler's parents yesterday," Mr. Roberts added. "They were shocked by the video. I don't think they realized what was happening." The principal leaned forward. "Alex, we want to make sure nothing like this happens again. Is there anything else we should know about? Any other incidents before yesterday?" Alex hesitated. He'd never been one to tell on others, but after everything that had happened, maybe staying quiet wasn't the right choice either. "There were other things," he admitted. "Comments in the hallway. A note with a racial slur in my locker. Getting tripped in the cafeteria." His mother's grip tightened, and he realized he'd never told her about any of this. Principal Davis nodded sadly. "That's what we suspected. We're addressing the broader culture issues here. This isn't just about one incident." Coach Wilson cleared his throat. "Actually, we have a proposal for you, Alex. Our self-defense program has been looking for a student assistant, someone who could help demonstrate techniques and talk about the philosophy behind martial arts. After seeing how you handled yourself yesterday, I think you'd be perfect." Alex blinked in surprise. "Me? But I've only been here a month." "Sometimes the newest perspective is exactly what's needed," Principal Davis said with a smile. "What do you think?" As Alex considered the offer, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from Pryor. "You're famous. Everyone's talking about how amazing you were. Tyler's friends are even impressed." Alex realized that in one chaotic afternoon, everything had changed. The videos showing what really happened had transformed how people saw him, not as just the new black kid, but as someone with extraordinary skill and self-control. "I'd like to think about it," he told them. "But yeah, I might be interested." As they left the office, his mother hugged him tight. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered. So proud." 2 days after the incident, Tyler's suspension began. Rumors buzzed around the school about his parents' reaction. Some said his dad had taken away his car keys. Others claimed he was being sent to military school. Nobody knew for sure, but everyone was talking. Alex tried to keep his head down and focus on his classes, but it was impossible to avoid the attention. The video had spread beyond Westridge High, racking up hundreds of thousands of views online. Local news stations had even picked up the story, though they blurred the faces and didn't use names since they were minors. The way you moved was so smooth, a sophomore told Alex in the lunch line. Like water or something. Thanks, Alex replied quietly, still uncomfortable with the spotlight. Pryor nudged him as they sat down with their trays. You're like a celebrity now. How does it feel? Weird, he admitted. I never wanted any of this. I just wanted to get through school without trouble. Well, sometimes trouble finds you anyway, she said. At least now people know not to mess with you. After school that day, Coach Wilson caught up with Alex in the hallway. Have you thought more about my offer? The self-defense program could really use someone like you. Alex had been thinking about it. At first, he'd wanted to say no, to go back to being invisible. But something his instructor had told him years ago kept playing in his mind. Knowledge kept to yourself helps no one. Knowledge shared can change lives. I'd like to help, Alex finally said, but I'm not sure how. Coach Wilson's face lit up. Excellent. I was thinking you could come to my physical education classes next week. Talk about martial arts philosophy, demonstrate some basic defensive moves, nothing fancy, just enough to show that it's not about aggression. The next Monday, Alex found himself standing in front of Coach Wilson's first period PE class, 30 pairs of eyes watching him with curiosity. This is Alex, Coach Wilson announced. Many of you have seen what happened last week. Instead of punishment or detention, the administration and I thought it would be more valuable for Alex to share some of what he's learned through his martial arts training. Alex's heart pounded as he stepped forward. Public speaking had never been his thing. But when he began talking about his 8 years of training, the words came naturally. The first thing my instructor taught me wasn't how to punch or kick, he told the class. It was how to bow, showing respect. The second thing was how to fall without getting hurt. Only after that did we learn any techniques. For the next 30 minutes, Alex explained the core principles he'd learned: discipline, respect, control, and self-defense as a last resort. He demonstrated basic stances and a few simple movements, showing how they were designed to redirect force rather than meet it head-on. The students were engaged in a way Coach Wilson rarely saw. Even the usual troublemakers paid attention, especially when Alex explained how Tyler's own momentum had been used against him. I never actually hit him, Alex explained. I just helped him fall. A few students laughed, but not in a mean way. By Friday, Alex had spoken to all 6 PE classes. Word spread quickly, and other teachers asked if he could visit their classes too. The guidance counselor invited him to talk to a group of students who'd had behavior problems. After his final presentation, Coach Wilson clapped him on the shoulder. You've got a gift for this, Alex. The kids listened to you. Alex smiled. It felt good to be using his knowledge to help others. That afternoon, he was surprised to find 3 freshmen waiting by his locker. Hey, one of them said nervously. We heard you might start an after-school club for martial arts. Is that true? Alex blinked in confusion. I haven't heard anything about that. Oh. The disappointment on their faces was clear. It's just, some of us get picked on too. We thought maybe you could teach us how to handle it like you did. Something clicked in Alex's mind. Maybe this was why he ended up at Westridge High. Not just to deal with his own challenges, but to help others with theirs. I'll talk to Coach Wilson, he promised. Maybe we really could start something. As he walked home that day, Alex felt different than he had in weeks. The videos, the attention, even the incident with Tyler, none of that mattered as much as what was happening now. For the first time since moving to this town, he felt like he belonged, like he had a purpose. His phone buzzed with a text from his mom. How was school today? He smiled as he typed back. Actually, really good. I think I might start a club. 6 months passed quicker than anyone expected. Winter melted into spring, and Westridge High School had transformed in ways no one could have predicted back in the fall. Every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, the gym echoed with the sounds of bare feet on mats and students counting in unison. Alex's after-school martial arts club had started small, just 5 nervous freshmen and a couple of curious sophomores. Now, 20 students showed up regularly, with a waiting list for the next semester. Remember, it's not about being tough, Alex reminded the group as they practiced basic blocks. It's about being centered, being aware, and knowing how to keep yourself safe. Principal Davis often stopped by to watch the sessions, amazed at how students who had once been targets for bullies now moved with quiet confidence. Reports of hallway incidents had dropped significantly across the school. One rainy Tuesday in April, Alex was setting up the mats when he heard the gym door open. He looked up, then froze. Tyler stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets, shoulders hunched. After serving his 2-week suspension, Tyler had returned to school much quieter than before. He'd lost his spot as wrestling captain, and many of his so-called friends had drifted away once his status diminished. For months, he and Alex had simply avoided each other in the hallways. "Can I talk to you?" Tyler asked, his voice lacking its old arrogance. Alex gestured to the bleachers. The other students wouldn't arrive for another 15 minutes. They sat with an awkward space between them, neither speaking at first. "I've been seeing the counselor," Tyler finally said, staring at his shoes. "Every week since, you know." Alex nodded but said nothing. "She made me think about why I was so angry all the time, why I picked on people." Tyler swallowed hard. "My dad, he's pretty tough on me. Always saying I need to be stronger, tougher, never show weakness. When you came to school and didn't seem intimidated by me, I lost it." Alex hadn't expected this conversation, especially not the raw honesty in Tyler's voice. "That's not an excuse," Tyler continued quickly. "What I did was wrong, really wrong. I just wanted you to know I'm trying to change." "That's good to hear," Alex said cautiously. Tyler took a deep breath. "Coach Wilson said there might be a spot open in your club. I was wondering if I could join." Alex stared at him in disbelief. "You want to join the martial arts club?" "I know it sounds weird after everything, but I've been watching what you're teaching. It seems like—" "I don't know. It might help me with my anger issues." He glanced up briefly. "The counselor thinks it would be good for me." Alex considered this. His first instinct was to say no. After all, this was the guy who had spit in his face, but then he remembered his instructor's words about martial arts being a path to transformation. "It won't be easy," Alex warned. "You'd start as a beginner, just like everyone else. And the first rule is respect, for yourself and others. No exceptions." Tyler nodded quickly. "I understand. And you'd need to apologize to everyone you've bullied. Not all at once, but over time, making things right." "I've already started," Tyler admitted. "It's hard, but it feels better afterward, you know." Alex hadn't expected this turn of events when he'd walked into Westridge High 6 months ago. Back then, he was just trying to survive being the new kid. Now he was teaching others, including the very person who had tormented him. "Be here Thursday," Alex said finally. "We start at 3:30 sharp." As students began arriving for that day's session, Alex watched Tyler leave the gym with a nod of thanks. They weren't friends, probably never would be, but something important had shifted. Pryor entered with her gym bag, now one of the club's most dedicated members. "Was that Tyler?" she asked in surprise. "Yeah," Alex confirmed. "He wants to join the club." "Are you serious? After what he did?" Alex smiled slightly. "My instructor always said the people who need martial arts most are often the ones with the most anger inside. It's not about fighting, it's about finding balance." As the students lined up on the mats, Alex looked at the diverse group before him, different grades, backgrounds, and social circles all training together. Some had been bullies, some had been victims, but here, they were just students learning together. "Let's begin with our breathing exercises," Alex announced. "Center yourselves. Find your balance." As they started the familiar routine, Alex realized that he had found his own balance too. The new school that once felt so hostile had become a place where he belonged, where he made a difference. Sometimes life's worst moments lead to unexpected new beginnings. What had started with an act of hate had transformed into something powerful and good.